This is a deck update or another deck update for my Gusto. I felt that the deck needed some revision, and I had a pretty big deck with like 48 cards or something. So I brought it down to 40. It was a little tough because most of the cards that I took out I kind of really wanted in there. But yeah, this is what happened. 2 Gusto Eagle. Gusto Eagle's great, but he's not the best recruiter, and I'd rather have one of the other recruiters in my hand instead of Eagle because they have the choice to special summon the other 2 recruiters, and he's a good target for 1 too. So yeah. Next is Winda, the level 2 recruiter. This card is fucking stupid in this deck, especially with Junk Synchron. One of the best targets. You can summon a Gusto or Daigusto Goldos and other level 5s and just do stupid shit. Next, 3 Gusto Goldo. The best special summoner recruiter, I think, because it's when he leaves the field, and Winda is when she's destroyed by battle. So if he gets Darkhold, Torrential, Smashing, whatever, you still get his effect, which is nice. And also, he does miss timing on synchro summons, so you can't synchro him with other things and special summon with his effect because he does miss timing. Just another thing I have to mention, in case you didn't know. Yeah. And just for the Gusto Wall, little explanation is Goldo special summons Winda or Eagle. Winda special summons Eagle or Goldo, and Eagle special summons Winda. Eagle can special summon other things like Thunbolt, but I do not run Thunbolt in here. He slows down the deck, I think, and he's kind of situational. Like, if your opponent has like one more monster after he destroys Eagle, you can special summon Thunbolt and he'll be alright, but yeah. You have to wait until the end of the battle phase to activate Thunbolt's effect, which is something I don't like. Yeah. Next for the Junk engine. 3 Junk Synchron. You have to run 3 in this deck. Junk Synchron is just too fucking crazy. He synchros into 5 like that. If you want to make level 5s in any deck, fucking use Junk Synchron. Just normal summon him, special summon a level 2 from the graveyard, synchro. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. And I could synchro summon almost like every turn. And if not, I could just wait it out with the Gusto Wall. 1 Quick Draw Synchron. Having 2 Quick Draw Synchrons was a little bit too much, I think. And yeah, having 1 is just fine. Same goes with Cobalt Hedgehog. Having 2 in my hand was a little bit too much, I think, because I'd rather set a recruiter instead of him, just to have him in the graveyard. Next is Dandelion and Debris Dragon. Debris Dragon can only synchro for dragon types. Yeah, dragon type synchro monsters. Dandelion's fucking broken as hell. But anyway, yeah, when he's normal summon, you can special summon a monster with 500 or less attack, like Dandelion, and synchro into 7, or you can use a Dandy token since he went to the graveyard to synchro for 8, or you could just synchro with the token to 6 and whatever. Yeah, that's it for the junk stuff, I think. Next is TG stuff. 2 Warwolf and 1 Striker. Striker's my only level 2 tuner. I want a Plague Spreader, and I might replace a Warwolf with a Plague Spreader if I get one, but I'm not sure. And I might side or change Striker into Warwolf and get rid of some of my TG stuff in my extra deck, because Warwolf is just amazing in this deck. You can special summon him on your opponent's turn when your recruiters are destroyed, and just set up for next turn. He's really good. Next is 2 Dark Smorg and 1 Gores. Gores is 1 me games, Your opponent has like one monster on the field. It's like almost at the end of the duel, and just drop cores, and your opponent really can't fucking do anything. Yeah. And if you drop Smorg when your opponent has no field, it's pretty much the next game, unless you can like Smashing Dark Hole or whatever. But he does have a pretty good attack with 27. But I don't know. If his attack was a little bit higher, he'd be way much better, or so much better than he already is. And Dark Smorg's effect is when he's face up on the field, your opponent can't set any cards. For spells, 1 Rhoda, Avarice, and 1 for 1. 1 for 1, I have 2 targets. I might put in another Eagle, but I don't know. Avarice's deck is mostly in the graveyard, so you need to recycle a lot, especially recruiters. And Rhoda, I have 4 targets, Junk Synchron, and Striker. Next for the staples, MST, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial. I run 1 MST because if you have like 3 MST in your deck, you kind of pick it up a lot, and I'd rather have a different card than an MST in my hand. I mean, MST is a good card and all, but I'd just rather have the 1 instead of like 3. And for the final spell cards, Creature Swap. Creature Swap is fucking broken with Gustos. You can use Gusto Eagle and Gusto Goldo. You switch a Gusto Goldo for like your opponent's Zen mains, your opponent's Scribe Dragon, and whatever. You can attack it with that monster, and you can still get Gusto Goldo or Gusto Eagle's effect. So you switch them, attack them, special summon. And you can synchro with their monster if it isn't an Ixie monster, and just screw them over. I know in a game against Wind-Ups, I did switch a Eagle, or no, it was a Junk Synchron with their Zen mains, and that won me the duel. You know, for traps, Solemn Brigade, pretty much have to run these cards. Solemn Judgment negates almost everything. Solemn Warning negates anything that summons a monster, effects, spell, traps, or the summoning of the monster. I run 2 D Prison now. I got a second one, and yeah, I've always wanted to run 2 D Prisons. Next is 1 Mirror Force, and 1 Torrential, and 1 Compulse. I only run the 1 Torrential because, I don't know, well, I don't know. I might side in, like, D-Prison for Torrential some games, if your opponent summons monsters like crazy or whatever, but I feel that Torrential minuses you a little bit more than it does them sometimes, so I just put it at 1. And next is, Safe Zone. This card can be used 2 different ways. You can use it on your own monsters or your opponent's monsters. What this card does is that when it's equipped to a monster, the monster that it's equipped to cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So let's say you have a card on the field that you don't want destroyed that turn. They use Dark Hole. You activate this on your monster. It's safe until whenever. But if this card's destroyed, the monster that's equipped to is sent to the graveyard, or destroyed. What is card? Yeah, it's destroyed. So let's say your opponent blind MSTs this or Heavy Storms when they have a monster on the field in attack position. You activate this card, equip it to their monster, and since this card is going to be destroyed, the monster goes with it. So it just minuses them, and I'd run probably 3 of these if I had 3. I'll probably pick some up in my locals if anyone has them, but this card is way too good not to run it in any deck. Next for my extra deck, I'll probably take out some of these, but for now, 1 Formula and 1 TG Reciprio Dragonfly. Reciprio Dragonfly is maybe for me. I'll probably take him out, but yeah, he's good for getting out Halberd Cannon, which I do run. And I'll probably, if I take him out, I'll take Halberd Cannon out. 2s. Next for 5s, I have a Cataster, Gusto Goldos, Magical Android, TG Hyper Librarian, and TG Wonder Magician. Junk Synchron can synchro into any of these 5s except for Wonder Magician because she requires a level or a TG non-tuner. So the only way that you can get this card out is basically with Striker and Warwolf, but this card is still good. Hyper Librarian is probably the best 5 synchro that you can get besides maybe Cataster. And if you're a synchro heavy deck, you can just plus the hell out of your hand with Hyper Librarian. Next for the 6s, 1 Brio and Iron Chain Dragon. Iron Chain Dragon's a good level 6, and Brio is the best level 6, I believe. I mean, he does have a little bit of low attack, but his effect makes up for it. For 7s, you got Black Rose, Junk Archer, Nitro Warrior. I found myself going into Junk Archer a lot more than I did Nitro Warrior because it's just fun as hell to screw with your opponent with Junk Archer. Let's say they only have they have no hand and they draw, they pick a monster, they set it down, synchro into Junk Archer, remove it for that turn, attack directly, and end. Next, Stardust. I want to add a Scrap Dragon, but I don't have one right now. But yeah. And probably another Stardust, because you do synchro into 8 quite a bit. 1 Shooting Star. I did get Shooting Star out in one of my games. It was pretty fun. And Shooting Star is just a great monster to have in your extra deck if you run Formula and Stardust. And for the last one, Halberd Cannon. Like I said, I'll probably take out Reciprio and Halberd Cannon for something else if I get anything better, like Scrap Dragon, or, yeah, or, God, what's another one I need? I don't know, probably some other 6 or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's my Gusto deck. Rate, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.